He's got a very interesting perspective on the control system. And that to me is the most interesting thing. So we're going to skip to that.
You know, people, they're looking for an explanation, and people say, well, as an artist, you don't have to give an explanation, but as a leader, you do.
Yes, I think that's right.
So the answer to why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah. Why do you think that's so, and I assume the implication is, of course, all lives matter because they're lives, because God created them.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that would be considered controversial?
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. My dad grew up as a military brat, and his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware.
So as I watch him, as he goes into it, and you're going to have to watch it so that you can get the context of everything without having to watch the entire interview. There are a few things now that even for myself, I now understand when I see these politicians and I see these celebrities. And what I mean by celebrities, I mean everything. Anyone who has a platform. And we're going to see filtering, and we're going to see putting things together, and we're going to see some deep breathing. This should be now considered a baseline for those kind of people when you get close to controversial subjects. Filtering, putting things together, and some deep breathing. Now, for the people where you don't see this at all, it's because they don't buck the system. They're willing to go with the herd. And for Kanye, or Ye, he, on the other hand, he's bucking it. But he's bucking it with the emotional of fear. It's kind of like, I was told I could have that cookie, but these people over here keep telling me that my ass is going to grow 2 sizes if I eat it. Yet the sane person over there says 1 cookie isn't going to hurt me, it'll be nice. And I can have it freely because it is theirs to give. That dueling mind. And you and Ye, as a thinking individual who is not ruled by fear, but is slave to it, is going to show the signs of filtering and putting things together. And some stress, like in this case, deep breathing.
And at the time, if they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go to the club and the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of where everyone else was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know. And when my mom, when the school suggested like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you'll never see him again. Because, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me, That's when he told me that she was told that. You know, there's so many things that are put in Kim's head. You know, they bring influencers, like no one ever knew where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be afraid of.
This is the part that I think is the most important. This is why you watched all of that with a little to no commentary, is this particular part. Because we didn't know this. None of us really knew this. We kind of suspected. We all sit there and go, oh, they've got handlers to do that. They've got this to do this. And it's like, that's really, in a psychological perspective, doesn't jive. Part of my 70s lingo. Because to have handlers to be blatantly saying, you can't say this, don't say that, you have to say this, you would see inorganic in people's body language. It would be very obvious that they are not genuine. And people, the majority are drawn to genuine people. People like truthful looking people. They, even if that truth is that individual's truth and not really based in reality, people are still drawn to it because it's a form of truth. So if you're going to have handlers, you have to have handlers that influence the influencer. They've got to whisper in the ear, as the Bible has said many times, whisper in thy ear. And they use the most powerful emotion to herd someone, and it is truly hurting, and that is fear. If I sit there and tell you, just like the cookie metaphor from earlier, the more fear I can put into you eating that cookie, the better the outcome is that you will not eat that cookie, even if it is given to you freely and from the individual that is able to give it to you freely, because the fear will push you away from it. And not only will it push you away from it, you will then spread the word of the fear to everyone else who will listen to you. And if you're an influencer, that's a lot of people. And you can get many people to avoid cookies by doing that. Fear is the most powerful emotion when it comes to controlling human beings. So now when you look at all these influencers, sports, media, actresses, actors, everything, and anybody who's got a huge platform, understand that is the push. It's fear-driven narrative. They don't even know it. I mean, even the most innocuous one, homesteaders, I'm not trying to offend anybody, and they're filtering their own language because it's fear-based. So when you see Kanye with the stress and you see, he's being his genuine self, and this will be our new baseline now for influencers and things of that nature, especially if it's a topic that MSM does not like, expect to see some stress. Oh, by the way, this goes for politicians as well. They're influenced just as much as everyone else. And you don't have to be a paid handler. It's just an FYI to do this. You could just get people to be the influencer that truly believe what they're saying to the person they're trying to influence, which will make it even more cemented in that influential realm, because now you have someone who believes telling someone who needs to be influenced via truth, their personal truth, and then there's no question in it. Don't you love the layers of emotional humanity? It's crazy, yo. Now I'm going to end this and go back to my handler, my husband.
If you like it, please share and subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to learn more about analysing body language, there is a video course available on Mandy's website for gold subscribers.